Gaffer, we'll start with the two injuries we suffered last weekend at Swindon with Tom Hill and Lewis Cass. Is there any update to the extent of their injuries?
Yeah, so Cassie has been off the last couple of days because we know that he'll have to have surgery. There's a problem with the front part of his ankle and some pretty severe damage. We'll get it right though, go to the top surgeon and make sure that he comes back sooner rather than later. But it is a blow to the team. It's a blow for him, and obviously our sympathies go with him. But we've touched base, and this is part of being a footballer, unfortunately. But the good thing is he'll get good treatment. And
Tom Hill, how is he after looked like a hamstring injury that forced him to come off against Swindon?
Yeah, he got scanned, and the result wasn't a great one for us. But he's presenting not too badly. So the physios in the building are assessing it and thinking it actually more upbeat nature of it, thinking actually, well, if he presents that way, maybe in a couple of weeks, we can start building up the strength in it.
So with Lewis Cass's injury, he's been an ever-present really this season. Does it leave you with a couple of options in terms of who fills that right-back slot? We've seen Warren Burrell play there, Zika Asare, of course, or could you perhaps look at different alternatives like a Levi Sutton who's just coming back from injury?
Yeah, that's also a good option. So we're looking at a few different players in training this morning and assess it and go with who I think's the most confident one in there.
And just looking back at the game itself at the weekend against Swindon, you said afterwards we weren't too far off it, perhaps lacked a little bit of a ruthless streak in front of goal. Is that where you feel the next step is that this team can take to get the results away at some of the teams who are put at the top of the table like Swindon?
Yeah, we've been close, haven't we? We look at the last home game against Crawley, 20 shots and hit the post. We've hit the post last week, had one cleared off the line. I didn't want to be too critical because I thought the lads' energy was there, and I thought it was there against Crawley, particularly in the second half. They had a good spell the first half an hour, but after that we were in charge. But I think it's all over the pitch. If we just make small gains now, I think we can be a very good team. But we starts at training, being upbeat, being positive, and having a good work ethic.
Someone who did show a bit of a ruthless edge in front of goal, Jack Muldoon, of course, got on the score sheet. Was looking back 7 years ago, and he was also on the score sheet away at Maidstone. How impressed are you with his longevity and the way he's looked after himself and still being able to produce performances over such a long period of time?
I think he's just been an amazing player for this football club, and he lives and breathes being a professional. He's lively about the place. He's a dream to have around. His dedication for the cause is standout in my time at the club. And that's why he's 36 and leading the line and scoring goals still. And he's a handful. One of their coaches at Swindon said, "What a handful he is," and he'll continue to be that way because he's defiant and has so many qualities.
Looking ahead to the weekend and a fixture against Shrewsbury, a side we've never played before, where do you see their main strengths going into the game?
Well, a big strength I would think is their physicality. Looking at them, they're brave with their tactics in terms of they'll lead bodies up the pitch. So if you don't look after the ball, they can punish you on the counter attack. They're not afraid to shoot from the edge of the box, even from second phase from corner. So we'll have to be switched on and respond accordingly. But their experience is there, isn't it? So many League One experienced players. The tide will turn for them, but what we've got to be is determined out for it on Saturday. Come back home, look at the examples of how we played against Crawley second half, Barrow, particularly that first hour, and know and happy in the knowledge that we've got a good team here. Sometimes you can get in a little rut results wise, but it doesn't mean to say you're a shocking team. We could have had a result in each of those 4 games. However, we've got to be on it, and we've got to stay focused, stay determined, and be ambitious to come away with 3 points on Saturday.
You mentioned that Crawley game. On paper, it feels like a similar game to that, in that it's a team who's just come down from League One, probably not had the start to League Two that they were hoping for. Are there lessons that we can take from that game to make sure we get a different result on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so, but lessons in most games at the minute. We seem to be punished for just small spells in the game, and we've had moments in really good runs, when we've been 10 unbeaten and where we could have got punished. I remember a couple of years ago facing a team, I think it was Colchester at home, where we had 20 shots again, thinking, stood there in the bar after the Thursday, well, got away with one that game, but we're not getting away with anything. But with those moments, we've got to grasp the lessons and learn from them, making sure that we stay focused and stay on it. I think that's the key thing, because when you're in a run of being punished, it can be difficult, but we can't undermine the confidence of the players. We've got to make sure that we stay calm, composed, and we know that the tide can turn for us.
Looking at the last two games in particular, the starts we've made to both games have been really positive, on the front foot, fast, getting the goal as well on one occasion. How much emphasis is going to be on that going into Saturday, especially being back in front of our home fans with an early kick-off?
Well, we all want to start well, and we all want people behind us, and we've got to make sure that we grab the occasion and take responsibility and command the ball when we can, but also win the physical battle, which is inevitable when you're playing Shrewsbury. We all want to start well, but we've got to handle the fact that there might be quiet 10-minute spells within a game. Very rarely do you see a league game, a League Two game, or a League One for that matter, level above, where a team dominates for the whole 90. In that, we've all just got to stay calm, composed, but stay on it defensively, and making sure that we don't have an open invite for teams to score a sloppy goal. So yeah, lessons learned from the recent weeks, but it's all not lost. We know that we've got some good players in there, and we've just got to keep them enthusiastic and full of energy.
Thank you.
Thank you.